Hey everyone, it's Rob Almy here. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to show you how to create slides for a presentation using Google Gemini. This particular use of AI is really a game changer. If you have ever created slides for a class or for some presentation in some other context, you know that creating slides in Google Slides or PowerPoint or even in Canva can take a lot of time. And so this is going to reduce the amount of time that you need to take to create slides. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to minimize myself here and show my screen. And so here we are in Gemini. So if you need to get to Gemini, you go to gemini.google.com and make sure that you are signed into your account. And of course, it will come up with the chat window just like this. And so here's what you want to do. You want to come to the chat window here. And if you see under here, there's tools. Go ahead and click tools. And one of the options that you will get is this one right here called Canvas. That's where you want to be. So you want to make sure, this is key, if you're trying to create slides in Gemini, that you make sure that you select Canvas under Tools. And so I have selected Canvas. Now when I do, you see that it appears in blue right here so that you know that you are in Canvas. So you need to be in this tool called Canvas in order to create these presentations. And so there's one of two ways that you can create presentations. I'm going to show you both today. The first way that you can create a presentation is to have Gemini kind of create your content for you. So let me show you what that looks like. So you're going to put a prompt in here. I always like to start with giving it a role. So I'm going to say, you are a third grade teacher teaching your students an overview of the Bible. Please create for me a presentation. Those words right there are key. Please create for me a presentation. Even if you didn't give it a role, if you just start with, please create for me a presentation, this is signaling to Gemini in Canvas there that you want it to create a presentation for you. So please create for me a presentation appropriate for third graders. And I always like to end all of my prompts with it saying, ask me a question one by one that will help you to provide the best presentation in this case. Please ask any clarifying questions one by one. I don't like to have a bunch of questions at once. I want them one by one. That will help you provide the best presentation. Now, sometimes it will ask me some questions, sometimes it doesn't, but I make sure that it does. I always like to leave it in thinking mode here as opposed to fast. I'm just going to leave it in thinking mode, and then I just click submit. Now, here's the thing with creating these slides in Gemini. It's going to get you 80% of the way there, and you're going to see that in a few minutes when I show you what it generates. And then you have to keep the human in the loop, and you have to do the remaining 20% of the editing. You have to do the remaining kind of human part of it, keeping that human in the loop, changing pictures, changing words, looking at it to make sure that it says what you want it to say. The other thing is that this is not instantaneous. So I'm going to pause the video in just a moment because it's going to take a couple of minutes for Gemini to go through this because it's really creating this slide presentation from scratch. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video for just a moment, and when I come back after pausing and restarting the video, then we'll go ahead and see what it has done for us. Okay, so Gemini has created our presentation, our Google Slides that we might use for use in class. As it did so, you see that it has come up with a little bit of a different look here on the screen from when we started with just the chat window. That's okay. It'll do it automatically. You don't have to touch anything to go ahead and to do that. But you see over in the kind of bottom 2/3 of the right side of the screen, the presentation itself. So if I come over here and you look here where my cursor is, it says slide 1 of 11. So it's created 11 slides for you. So let's take a look at the slides that it has given to us. And so I can use these little buttons here to go forward and backward. So we have this first slide, says the amazing book of the Bible, an adventure through the Old and New Testaments. If I click the next slide, what is the Bible? And so it gives a third grade appropriate version of what is the Bible. It has created this graphic here. You might think it looks like just one big book, but the Bible is actually a whole library. It has 66 different books inside of it. Okay, so you want to go back and make sure that that's true, right? And the Bible does have 66 books. It has two big parts on the next slide, slide 3 of 11, the Old Testament and the New Testament. Let's look at the rest of the slides. I'm not going to comment on each one. Here's a great little picture here for third graders, the Old Testament. Famous Old Testament stories, Noah's Ark, David and Goliath, Daniel, continuing through the slides. Then it talks about the New Testament, how it's 27 books, the Gospels. It talks about who is Jesus, the central figure. Jesus is the most important person in the whole Bible. He taught everyone to love one another. He healed sick people, and he showed us exactly what God is like. How to find a verse. The Bible just doesn't use page numbers. We use chapters and verses. The big message, love the Lord your God with all your heart, and love your neighbor as yourself. Then questions, and then it's giving you the sources that it has used for the images there at the end. So it's done a pretty good job, I think, of creating a slide presentation appropriate for third graders to introduce what is the Bible and give an overview of the Bible. So here's what we do from here. You see this button up here, export to slides. When I hit that, it is going to now allow me to open that into Google Slides. There's one more step between that, but I'm going to hit this here, export to slides. And then if you look down here, kind of near where my head is, I'm going to move that. It says creating slides. As it creates those slides, it's going to put those all together and get it in a format so that can be opened up in Google Slides. It's going to give me a message that says the new slides have been created, open slides. So I want to come down here and I want to click on Open Slides. Now watch what happens when I click Open Slides. Okay, we give it a minute, and here it has opened up into Google Slides. So if you ever use the Google Slides, you know kind of how it works. You can take each individual slide and you can edit it to your liking. So you might not have liked the way that it said something, or you want to add some stuff to it. You can do that all here, just as you would do in any Google slide presentation. And so it's fully editable. If I want to remove this picture and put another one in, I can do that. And so at the end of the day, right, that just saved me probably, I don't know how long it takes you to make slides, an hour or so if you were just making slides yourself and formatting it and putting the fonts just right and getting the pictures. And it's done a really nice job of doing that. Look at that nice layout. It's got the 3 different famous Old Testament stories, Noah's Ark, David and Goliath, and Daniel, nicely laid out with nice boxes and things like that. Again, an hour or 2 you just saved if you wanted to create a presentation like that. And now it is ready to use inside of your classroom. Okay, so that is creating some Google Slides with just a prompt. Now we're going to go back here. I'm going to create a new chat. I come over here to new chat, click on that. Okay, so I am back into my chat window in Gemini. Again, so I'm going to show you now how to use some existing work that you might have that you can go ahead and put in here, and it will create slides. So again, I'm going to go to Tools. I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. Go to Canvas and make sure Canvas is in blue here. Okay, but this time I'm going to go over to the little plus here where it says Add Files, and I'm going to actually pull a file that I had used in my epistles class for the book of Hebrews that has some of my teacher notes in it, and I'm going to upload that and ask Gemini to create a presentation based on that. So I'm going to go and click on the Add Files button. That's the little plus right there. Okay, I'm going to say add from drive. Now, if you had it on your desktop or on your hard drive, you can do just upload files and it would pull from your computer itself. But mine's in my drive, so I'm going to hit add from drive. I'm going to go over here to my drive. I'm going to come to my epistles folder here. Now I'm going to find Hebrews. There's Hebrews. Okay, and here's the Hebrews teacher notes. And so I'm going to click that, and you can hit insert or double click it either way. Now you see it appears right here. Now I still need to give it a prompt, right? So I'm going to say here, you are a high school Bible teacher teaching the epistles. Please create for me a presentation based on the attached document. All right. Now, just here's the thing I always tell folks. See how I totally misspelled these last three words? It's okay. The AI knows enough that it can translate that from my misspelling and know what it's doing. So I'm just going to leave it there just to prove it to you. So I'm in Canvas. I've attached the document. I've given it the prompt. Now I'm going to tell it to go. And just like the last time, I'm going to pause briefly, and we'll come back to it in just a moment after it generates. It's going to take a couple of minutes to do so, so hold tight. Okay, so it has gone and generated from that document that I uploaded a presentation for us. And so again, let's click through it really fast and see. So the epistle to the Hebrews, authorship and date. Again, it's just pulling from my notes right there. Purpose and context. Again, it adds these pictures. It lays it out nicely. There's a nice background. All very professionally done, for sure. Talks about the superiority of Christ, which is lifted up in the epistle as one of the themes of this letter. Old versus New Covenant, the great high priest, who is addressed, who the letter is to, heroes of the faith, the famous hall of faith in Hebrews chapter 11 is there. 5 warnings that are given to believers. So it's created 14 slides here. An unshakable kingdom, Jesus, author and perfecter of our faith, questions, and then again, it's going to give us its image sources. So we could do the same thing and export this to slides and go ahead and make our presentation. Again, keep the human in the loop. It's going to get you 80% of the way there. You need to edit. You need to put your wisdom and discernment on it and your critical eye, change things, add things, and go from there. Remember, the AI is not meant to replace your work and your wisdom and discernment. It cannot do so, but it is meant to enhance your work and enhance you and your ability to teach here and to do your best as a teacher. Now, before we go, I just wanted to let you know that you could do this with any type of document. So if you had a spreadsheet that you wanted it to create slides based on your spreadsheet, you could upload that in the chat when you asked it to create a presentation for you. If you could take a YouTube video and grab the transcript, once you grab the transcript of that video, you can go ahead and put that in and ask it to create a presentation, and it's going to create a presentation just from that transcript. So to me, this ability to create slides and to do it free here in Gemini is a game changer. There's other apps that I have used that cost $20 a month that maybe are a little bit better than this, but this gets very close to them, and this is free. So anyways, I hope that's helpful for you. I hope that saves you time. Hope that takes some burden off of you, especially if you're somebody that uses slides a lot. Consider creating those slides in Gemini using the Canvas feature. Until the next time, I hope that you will continue to be blessed and that you have a great rest of your day. Thanks.